The transport ship's engines hummed quietly as Captain Marcus Thompson guided the vessel through the asteroid field, surrounding the hidden colony of New Haven. In the passenger compartment behind him sat two of the most important beings in the galaxy, though they looked nothing alike. Princess Lyra of the Stellar Commonwealth possessed the ethereal beauty typical of her people, with luminescent silver skin that seemed to glow from within and eyes like captured starlight. Her daughter Maya, however, bore the pointed ears and graceful features of her elven heritage, inherited from her mother's brief but passionate union with an elven diplomat years ago. The child's human-elven hybrid nature made her unique in the galaxy, and unfortunately, incredibly valuable to those who would exploit such rarity. "Are you certain she's alive?" Princess Lyra asked for the 100th time, her melodic voice barely concealing the anguish she had carried for 3 years. Her elegant hands twisted the fabric of her simple refugee clothing, a far cry from the royal garments she once wore. Marcus glanced back through the cockpit doorway. "Ma'am, I've seen your daughter with my own eyes. Maya is alive, healthy, and asking about you every day. The slavers who took her didn't know what they had, which probably saved her life." The princess closed her luminous eyes, relief washing over her features. When the Corvan Empire had attacked her homeworld, the chaos of evacuation had separated her from Maya. She had spent years believing her daughter was dead, only to learn recently that the child had been captured and sold into slavery on the Outer Rim territories. "Captain Thompson," Lyra said softly, "I cannot adequately express my gratitude. When the human resistance offered to help locate Maya, I hardly dared to hope." Marcus smiled grimly. "Humans have a saying, Your Highness. Nobody gets left behind. That goes double for kids." The rescue itself had been surprisingly straightforward. The mining station where Maya was being held as an indentured servant was more concerned with keeping workers in than keeping rescuers out. Marcus had simply walked in with forged credentials, identified the young elf-human hybrid working in the hydroponics bay, and walked out with her during a shift change. The hardest part had been convincing Maya that he was really there to take her home. "She looks just like you did at that age," Marcus told the princess as they approached New Haven's docking ports. "Same determined expression, same way of tilting her head when she's thinking, though she's got her father's ears, obviously." Lyra smiled for the first time in days. Aldrich always said Maya had inherited his stubborn streak along with his elven features. "I used to worry that would get her into trouble." "In this case, it probably kept her alive," Marcus replied. "The other workers told me she never stopped talking about her mother, never stopped believing you'd come for her. That kind of hope doesn't come from nowhere." The docking clamps engaged with a metallic thud, and Marcus began the shutdown sequence. Through the viewports, they could see the bustling activity of New Haven's main port. The colony had become a refuge for displaced persons from across the galaxy, a place where humans, elves, and various alien species worked together to build something better than what they had lost. "She's in the medical bay," Marcus explained as they prepared to disembark. "Nothing serious, just making sure she's healthy after 3 years in that place. Dr. Williams is with her." Princess Lyra stood, smoothing her simple dress with nervous hands. "Do I look presentable? I hardly want Maya to see her mother looking like a refugee." Marcus studied the elegant alien woman who had somehow maintained her regal bearing despite losing everything. "Ma'am, you could be covered in mud, and she'd still think you were the most beautiful thing in the universe. Trust me on this." They made their way through New Haven's corridors, past bustling markets and residential areas where dozens of species lived in relative harmony. The colony represented everything the Corvan Empire opposed: cooperation, diversity, and freedom. It was exactly the kind of place where a refugee princess and her half-elven daughter could build a new life. The medical bay doors slid open to reveal a small figure sitting on an examination table, legs swinging impatiently. Maya had grown taller during her captivity, but she was still clearly a child. Her pointed ears marked her elven heritage, while her features bore her mother's alien nobility. When she saw Marcus enter, she smiled. "Captain Thompson, did you find her? Did you really find my mom?" Why don't you see for yourself? Marcus stepped aside. Princess Lyra appeared in the doorway, and time seemed to stop. Mother and daughter stared at each other across the small medical bay, years of separation and worry evaporating in an instant. "Mom!" Maya leaped from the examination table and ran across the room. "Mom, I'm back! He rescued me!" The reunion was everything Marcus had hoped it would be. Princess Lyra caught her daughter in her arms, spinning her around as both of them laughed and cried simultaneously. Maya chattered excitedly about her rescue, about how she had known someone would come, about how she had never stopped believing. "I told everyone about you," Maya said, her words tumbling over each other. "I told them my mom was a princess and that she would come for me. Some of them didn't believe me, but I knew you were out there somewhere." Princess Lyra held her daughter tightly, stroking her dark hair. "I never stopped looking for you, my precious one. Not for a single day. And I had help from some very brave humans who believed that family should be together." Maya looked over at Marcus, who was trying to discreetly wipe his eyes. "Thank you, Captain Thompson. Thank you for bringing my mom back to me." "Actually, Maya, I brought you back to her," Marcus corrected gently. "But either way, you're together now, and that's what matters." Dr. Williams, who had been watching the reunion with professional satisfaction, stepped forward. "Maya is in excellent health considering everything she's been through. A few weeks of good nutrition and rest and she'll be as good as new." Princess Lyra looked around the medical bay, then at Marcus. "What happens now? Where do we go from here?" "New Haven needs teachers," Marcus said. "Maya needs education, and you need a purpose. Seems like a natural fit to me. Plus, the Colony Council has been looking for someone with diplomatic experience to help with interspecies relations." "We can stay here?" Maya asked excitedly. "Together?" "Together," her mother confirmed, pressing a kiss to the top of her daughter's head. "Whatever happens next, we face it together." As Marcus watched the reunited family, he reflected on why humans had earned their reputation as the galaxy's most stubborn species. When they decided something was worth fighting for, whether it was freedom, justice, or simply keeping families together, they never gave up. Sometimes the universe needed that kind of stubbornness.